happened upon it.
She says, what a coincidence. Me too. Gives you a smile. She says, who's the most responsible person here?
I'm going to look at BB.
BB like raises his hand and starts bouncing up and down.
He says, she says, what is that thing? She's never seen an orc before.
I'm going to say he's our chief.
She says, I've been gone like 2 days. Okay. And then she writes his name at the top of a list. And she says, is there a Vincent Burns here? You were on an inventory sheet I found.
Yep, that's me.
She says, congratulations, Vincent Burns. You now own... And then she counts everybody in the room. I gotta count everybody in the room mentally. You own 1/5 of yourself.
Awesome. That's more than I've owned the rest of the day.
She says that's a very positive outlook. She says, is anybody here good with money? She hears your grunt and says, all right, Vincent. And she writes your name. And she looks around and says, who here likes to count things? Who likes to keep track of numbers? And who likes to buff armor?
I like looking for gnome-sized holes.
She says, that's close enough for me. I don't care. Writes Fedorov down. And she says, she kind of looks at Uhl and she says, what are you good at?
Yeah, I don't know, like imp stuff, demon stuff, making sparks come out, and I shoot some sparks out of my hand.
She also makes some sparks come out.
Like, I kind of give her a high five.
All right.
Motion.
A magic high five. You guys both prestidigitate hands.
Two big hands.
High five
together.
hands.
Okay. She writes your name down and then she makes a note next to it. She says, okay, I think I have everything I need here. You also see her name is written at the very top of the form in the biggest box.
You don't technically own any of us now, do you? That's not what that's all about, is it?
I think she owns 1/5 of me.
She looks at you, and she kind of has like a disgusted look on her face, and she says, I don't own people.
I like your style.
Can I have your share of me?
She says, funny you should say that. I'm not exactly comfortable owning somebody. Yes.
Yes, majority stakeholder.
You guys got to create a voting block against Vincent's self-interest. So, while this sort of... I assume you guys want to probably introduce yourselves, right? To your new friend here.
Well, she already knows I'm Vincent.
It's true. She says it's nice to finally put a face to the name.
And you are?
Spoon.
Spoon, that's an odd name.
My parents weren't creative people. That's why they joined a cult, and that's why they're dead.
That's a fun story.
She says, why was that fun?
I'll just say I'm Uhl and put out a big, giant magic hand to maybe shake her big,
She
giant
says,
magic hand.
What kind of creature are you? I've never seen this before. You like a goat?
Purple?
Goat woman?
Yeah, more or less.
Cool.
I thought you weren't going to play the race card.
I just agreed to being a goat person.
She
I
says,
think
are you a cultist? I know I asked you, but I just want to ask again. Are you a cultist?
No, definitely not a cultist.
then you're cool with me.
All right.
She turns to BB and she says, "What are you, other than responsible?"
He says, "I'm a BB," and then runs up and gives her a big old bear hug.
She's just absolutely confused by this, but all right. She said, "I'm
gonna say, so how about that drink?" And kind of motion towards the door.
Okay, as you do so, a man dressed in a fine black suit steps through. He kind of steps over the body, all the bodies out on the curb, and he says, "I'm here to collect a charter. Is there a Mickham present?"
Yeah, I'm Mickham.
He says, "All right, Mr. Mickham, charter, please." And then Spoon hands it to you to hand to him. You just hand it over.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he produces another form, and he says, "And if I could just get your signature here," and gives you a pen.
Okay. Can I look at the form?
Yep, it's sort of legalese. Basically, sort of accepting that Mickham accepts liability for damage to the city that you might cause, and
Sure.
sort of things like that.
All right, I'm going to sign it, Mickham Lardas.
Okay. As you sign it, the ink seems to run off the paper. Not unlike what happened with the Wool's forged stamp.
I'm going to shake the pen and try to do it again.
It again runs off. This clerk just kind of gives you a puzzled look, and he says, "Are you Mickham?" "I don't care if you're Mickham. I just want to know. I'm flexible."
I mean, I was owned by Mickham. Technically, I can act for him.
He says,
It's in his will.
He says, "Sure, okay. You help me, and I'll help you."
Sure, what do you want?
He looks at you like it should be obvious what a lawyer wants.
He's some sort of demon? Okay, I'll give him a gold piece.
He says, "Okay. Well, you weren't done, right?"
No, of course not. I'll give him another gold piece.
He says, That's a mighty fine start you have there.
Oh,
Don't
my
rush.
God.
I'm hourly.
All right, well, fine. I'll give him 3 more gold pieces.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm gonna, while he's doing all this,
Ooh,
I'm gonna turn
crit.
my pockets inside out and like, oh man, I got robbed.
He sort of looks at this sort of desolate building and the people in front of him and the 5 like greasy, grime and blood-soaked coins you've handed him, and he says, "Sure." And then he takes a pen out of an inside pocket and he initials next to the field that you've been trying to sign, and he says, "Sign now, please. Real name this time."
I'm going to put Vincent Burns on it.
Okay, all right. He says, "Congratulations." And he reads the signature. Vincent Brands? I don't care. I don't care what your name is. Congratulations. And then he turns on his heel and he leaves. And he also left with you sort of a summary form that seems to indicate that you have now officially chartered an adventure company, name pending. The owner of the company is Spoon. The de facto leader is BB.
Oh, God, Jesus.
The treasurer is Vincent.
Oh, that was such a mistake.
The quartermaster is Fedorov, and head of research is Uhl.
Nice.
Ooh.
And then Spoon sort of kicks her feet down from the table and says, "Now, how about that drink?"
I'm gonna look at her and say, "You're goddamn right."
All right. So that is the end of my adventure. All that's left to do is sort out what you guys do on your month off.
Nice.
You're free to do whatever you want. I don't know how many of you guys actually did the sort of homework that I gave you from last week. If you didn't come up with anything, that's totally fine. Your character doesn't have to necessarily do anything, but if you've got a good yarn, throw it my way, and you might receive some boons, some money.
Should we take turns?
Yeah, let's start with the first week. So, Vincent, what do you do in your first week?
All right. So my first week, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna meet up with that sort of panhandler guy, the
Okay.
beggar, and I'm gonna ask him if he knows of a fence, a reputable one, as reputable as they can come, because I want to get rid of this jewelry that I've been carrying around. I wanna sell it.
He wants to know where you got it. Did you get it from the city?
I did not.
Says, all right, just wondering, the gangs around here don't like it when you move in on their turf. If you've been
That's good to know.
pilfering from the citizens at large, they're not going to be too happy. I'm more than happy to fence it for you. What do you
That'd
want?
be nice.
What do you want to offload?
I got a bunch of jewelry here. I reckon it's about 280 gold coins.
He laughs when you say that, and he says, "Tell you what, I'll give you 100 for it up front, except for this." And he picks an amulet out of the collection. He says, "I don't know what that is, but I'd have a hard time offloading it. 100 gold for the whole thing." The whole prize package.
Deal.
Okay, all right. So you get 100 gold, and you keep this strange amulet.
Cool.
Is there anything else you want to do this week?
Yeah. Can I take some of that 100 gold?
Okay.
And what I want to do is I want to buy
Let it
a sort of
ride.
costume,
Okay.
like a fortune teller costume.
Yep.
And then some sort of like fortune teller stand or like whatever.
Okay. Yep. All the supplies you need to do some fortune telling.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It takes you probably the whole week to track down like a really convincing set of fortune teller supplies and a costume, and you spend the rest of the week sort of scoping out where you're gonna set up shop here, because there's other people running the same grift as you, but by the end of the week you've got a good place sorted out.
Yeah. Do I recognize like? Do I get a feel of? He'd mentioned that there are different gangs. Can I find a spot that's not inhabited by gangs?
Yep. You find a place where you're pretty sure you're not going to encroach on anybody's turf.
Cool. All right.
Uhl, what do you
How
have
much
to?
gold?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. How much did that cost me? I forgot.
7 gold
7.
for a really convincing setup.
Chump change.
Okay. Uhl. God, what's his name? Braun shows up at the inn, and he's got he assumes you want it split into thirds. Share the gold. Which,
Well,